My portfolio is a love letter to the fantasy of theater. When I began learning to sew as a young child, it was to sew costumes. When I got serious about sewing in middle school, it was to sew cosplay. Fashion design has always been a route back to the theater and costuming, where every outfit has a story and a reason for existing. The collection I've created is a story of my most favorite eras of fashion and ways of creation. Every outfit is layered, boned, and exaggerated. Every dress was a labor of love, and I think that the end results were definitely worth my efforts in creating them. My designer statement talks about the first gown I've ever made, and about how that shaped my aesthetic and my love for volume ever since. And of course, the Tim Gunn quote that shaped my design process: make it work. My inspiration board comes from the fantasy of the 80s. When the CGI was bad and the gowns were bigger, the main word to describe my board would be ethereal, almost a soft fantasy. I strive to create gowns that you can be whisked away in for an adventure. The wording of my color board all traces back to the title Extravagant, where you have words such as excessive, sublime, titles such as vaporous and tenuous and luxurious. All of my fabrics are rich and tactile, themselves telling a story of what sort of fantasy they might be from. The soft velours and bright brocades all pull from different eras. The next few pages are my illustrations, showing the different variations of what could come to be, made with Adobe Illustrator. I chose to create the gown on the left, the other gown on the left, the dress on the right. This dress is a combination of the Rococo period in French history as well as a splash of my favorite part of the 80s, giant sleeves. To make this dress come to life, I created a grand pannier with steel wire to support the many heavy skirts, as well as a corset that could attach to the pannier and help to distribute the weight. On top of the dress, I shaped lace on the bodice to add subtle detail. This slim silhouette with the overlaid corset is meant to represent armor in a way, and is a more modern take on an older style of corset. This is my tech pack, something I would send out if I was to have the gown be reproduced on either a mass scale, small scale, any scale made other than me. I had such a stiff, armored look in mind when creating this, and it was going to be used with a plastic overlay at first, but it was just not getting along with me. From the mock-up look, I wanted a slimmer silhouette, thinner straps, and so plastic overlay it didn't work anymore. And I had to choose a velour, which I think really meshes well with the touch and the feel of the purple. The yellow dress springs forward from the decade of the 50s. It comes to life with the details as there are bloomers and layers of underskirt making the shape possible. It is also all finished hems with horsehair to add volume. The meshing of so many patterns made picking the textiles an interesting challenge, but one that I feel succeeded. My last dress was such a joy to make. I learned a lot in the process, from learning to make the grand pannier to learning about how lace shaping was even done. The construction was the smoothest on this dress, however, from mock-up to final look, most likely because I loved creating it so much, so it wasn't a chore. These are my 3 final looks. I feel like each outfit is a different stage of the story, from traversing the gardens in the palace to the day before the battle, and then to the final ball. Extravagance, ethereal, theater, it all tells a story, as do my pieces.